Have you ever walked out of a meeting feeling completely confused about what just happened? You know something was wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Or maybe you've been blamed for a mistake you didn't make, yet somehow you walked away feeling guilty. Perhaps your boss just showered you with praise and extra responsibilities, and now you're drowning in work while feeling obligated to stay silent about the unfair treatment. If any of these scenarios sound familiar, you might be experiencing something more sinister than just a difficult workplace. You might be caught in the web of dark psychology manipulation. Welcome to a conversation that could genuinely transform how you navigate your professional relationships. The tactics we're about to explore aren't accidental or coincidental, they're calculated, deliberate, and often invisible to the untrained eye. Whether you're dealing with a manipulative boss, a toxic coworker, or trying to understand these patterns in yourself, this video is designed to be your comprehensive guide. And if you find this content valuable, I'd genuinely appreciate if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that protects your mental health and professional well-being. So, what exactly is dark psychology in the workplace, and why should you care? Dark psychology refers to the deliberate use of hidden, self-serving tactics designed to control, exploit, and undermine others, all for personal gain at your expense. The crucial distinction here is intent. A tough manager who pushes you to grow, a boss who makes difficult decisions that affect the team, or a coworker who outcompetes you fairly. These aren't necessarily examples of dark psychology. True manipulation operates under the radar, leaving you feeling confused, guilty, and questioning your own perception of reality. It's the difference between someone who wants you to succeed within healthy boundaries and someone who wants you dependent on them. The psychology behind the manipulation. Before we dive into specific tactics, let's understand who tends to employ these strategies. Researchers have identified what's called the dark triad of personality traits: Narcissism, Machiavellianism, and Psychopathy. Now, this doesn't mean everyone exhibiting these traits is a dangerous criminal. Instead, these individuals tend to have a diminished capacity for empathy, an inflated sense of self-importance, and a willingness to manipulate others to achieve their goals. They view relationships as transactions rather than genuine human connections. In a workplace context, these individuals recognize that direct methods of control rarely work, so they've developed an arsenal of sophisticated manipulation techniques. What makes these manipulators particularly effective is their ability to appear normal, even charming, on the surface. They understand social dynamics intimately, not out of compassion, but out of a calculated need to control their environment. They know exactly which buttons to push, when to push them, and how to make you question your own judgment. This is what makes identifying and protecting yourself from workplace manipulation so critical. Understanding the tactics, a detailed breakdown. Let's examine the most common manipulation tactics you're likely to encounter, because understanding them is your first line of defense. Gaslighting. This is perhaps the most psychologically damaging tactic because it directly attacks your sense of reality. Gaslighting occurs when someone makes you question your own memory, perception, or sanity. Your boss might deny that they said something you clearly remember, or they might twist the facts of a situation so dramatically that you start to wonder if you misunderstood. When you push back, you're labeled as too sensitive or dramatic. Over time, this systematic invalidation of your experiences erodes your confidence in your own judgment. You begin second-guessing yourself before you even speak up, which is exactly what the manipulator wants. Blame shifting and projection. Here's a pattern that happens constantly in toxic workplaces. A project fails, a deadline is missed, or a client is unhappy. Instead of taking responsibility, the manipulator immediately redirects blame elsewhere, usually toward you or another vulnerable colleague. What's particularly insidious is when they project their own failures onto you. They might accuse you of being disorganized while their own work is in chaos, or they might call you manipulative while they're actively manipulating the entire team. By refusing to own their mistakes, they maintain an image of competence while systematically damaging yours. Withholding information. Information is power, and manipulators know this intimately. They strategically exclude you from key meetings, important communications, or decision-making processes. You're left out of the loop not because you don't need the information, but because your exclusion keeps you disadvantaged. When you inevitably miss something or aren't prepared, you look incompetent, while the manipulator maintains control. This also serves the additional purpose of isolating you from the team, making you feel like an outsider while they maintain strong connections with others. Emotional blackmail and guilt tripping. This tactic weaponizes your own emotions and values against you. A manipulative boss might say, "I thought you were a real team player," right before asking you to work through the weekend without compensation. Your coworker might leverage a small favor they did you months ago to pressure you into a massive undertaking. The underlying threat is emotional. If you don't comply, you're a bad person, an ungrateful teammate, or someone who can't be trusted. It's a form of coercion that exploits your desire to be seen as competent and loyal. Superficial charm and love bombing, the relationship often starts beautifully. Your new boss seems genuinely interested in your well-being, compliments your work constantly, and does small favors that make you feel valued. This isn't accidentally kind, it's a calculated investment. Once they've built this bond of trust and obligation, the dynamic shifts. They use the goodwill they've created to obligate you to go above and beyond. You feel indebted to them. When they eventually make unreasonable demands or behave badly, you minimize it because of the good things they've done. The initial warmth makes you tolerant of subsequent manipulation. Public humiliation and undermining confidence. Some manipulators are more overt in their tactics. They criticize you in front of your peers, point out your weaknesses in meetings, or constantly compare your performance unfavorably to others. This public erosion of your confidence serves multiple purposes. It establishes dominance, makes you less likely to challenge them in the future, and signals to the rest of the team that you're not someone to respect. Over time, you internalize this criticism and begin to believe their assessment of your abilities. Your self-esteem becomes collateral damage in their power play. Triangulation. Rather than addressing a conflict directly with you, the manipulator involves a third party. They might complain about you to HR, vent to your boss about your performance, or tell another coworker something unflattering and let it circulate back to you. By triangulating, they avoid direct confrontation while still controlling the narrative. They appear concerned and professional while planting seeds of doubt about you in other people's minds. You're left defending yourself against accusations you never heard directly, trying to prove yourself to people who already have a negative impression. Constant comparisons. You know, Sarah finishes her reports much faster than you do. Or, I've never seen another manager struggle with delegation the way you do. These seemingly casual observations are actually deeply corrosive. The manipulator holds up an impossible standard, sometimes comparing you to people who either don't exist or have completely different circumstances. The goal is to make you perpetually feel inadequate, driving you to work harder, accept worse treatment, and comply more readily with their demands. You're in a constant state of competition, always trying to measure up. The impact. Why this matters: the effects of prolonged workplace manipulation aren't just career damaging, they're deeply personal. People who experience manipulation often develop anxiety, insomnia, and depression. They lose confidence in their professional abilities, second-guess their decisions, and become hypervigilant in relationships. The psychological toll of constantly having your reality questioned and your worth undermined is severe. Many people who escape toxic workplaces find they need months or even years to rebuild their sense of self-worth and trust their own judgment again. This isn't weakness, it's the predictable human response to psychological abuse. Protecting yourself, a practical defense strategy. Now that we've identified the problem, let's focus on the solution. How do you protect yourself from workplace manipulation? Trust your instincts. Your emotional responses are data. If you consistently feel confused, anxious, guilty, or off after interactions with a specific person, that's valuable information. Our nervous systems often detect threats before our conscious mind can articulate them. If someone makes you feel uncomfortable repeatedly, that's not paranoia, it's intuition. Write down these feelings. Notice the patterns. Your gut is often right, especially when the pattern is consistent. Don't dismiss these warning signs as being oversensitive or dramatic. Document everything meticulously. This is your evidence and your protection. Keep detailed, factual records of incidents, including dates, times, exactly what was said, and who witnessed it. Save relevant emails, messages, and correspondence. If someone promises something verbally, follow up with an email summarizing what was discussed. This documentation serves multiple purposes. It prevents gaslighting by creating an objective record of events. It protects you if you need to involve HR or higher management. And psychologically, it grounds you in reality when someone is trying to make you doubt your own memory. Writing things down is also deeply empowering because it gives you concrete proof that your recollection was accurate. Set clear, firm boundaries. Manipulators thrive in ambiguity. When expectations are vague, they exploit that space. You need to be specific and assertive about your boundaries. Instead of a vague, "I'm pretty busy," try, "I understand this is important, but my current priorities are fully committed for the next 2 weeks. I can help with this after that deadline is met." Make your boundary clear, reasonable, and non-negotiable. When boundaries are firm and consistent, manipulators are more likely to target someone else. Don't apologize for your boundaries or over-explain them. Simplicity and consistency are your allies. Stay calm and professional. Manipulators often deliberately provoke emotional reactions. They want you angry, defensive, or tearful because emotions cloud judgment. They want you rattled because it makes you easier to control. Your superpower is your composure. When you respond with calm, facts, and emotional distance, you take away their ability to manipulate you in that moment. Practice keeping your voice level, avoiding inflammatory language, and sticking to facts rather than interpretations. This isn't about being cold, it's about refusing to give them the emotional ammunition they're seeking. Seek external validation and support. Isolation amplifies the damage of manipulation. Talk to people you trust outside the situation: a mentor, a friend, a therapist, or a trusted colleague who isn't involved in the toxic dynamic. An outside perspective is invaluable because it helps you reality test your experiences. When someone you trust confirms that your perception is accurate, it counteracts the gaslighting. Professional support from a therapist can be particularly helpful because they can help you process the emotional impact and rebuild the self-trust that manipulation erodes. You don't have to navigate this alone. Limit interaction strategically. Minimize unnecessary contact with the manipulator. Keep conversations brief, task-focused, and documented. Instead of a lengthy in-person conversation that can be misrepresented later, send an email. Instead of a one-on-one meeting, include others. These strategic adjustments reduce the opportunities for manipulation and create a paper trail that protects you. This isn't antisocial. It's professional self-preservation. Recognize when it's time to leave. Sometimes, despite your best efforts and strongest boundaries, the manipulation persists and escalates. Your mental and physical health are more important than any. If your workplace is becoming toxic despite your interventions, if you're experiencing significant anxiety, depression, or physical symptoms related to the job, it might be time to look for a new opportunity. Leaving isn't failure, it's choosing yourself. A healthier workplace exists, and you deserve to work somewhere that values you rather than exploits you. Don't stay so long that you lose yourself completely. Moving forward, the workplace manipulation tactics we've discussed are insidious precisely because they operate in the shadows. They're designed to be deniable, leaving victims confused about whether they're even real. But now you know what to look for. You understand the patterns, the tactics, and most importantly, how to protect yourself. Remember that recognizing manipulation isn't about becoming paranoid. It's about becoming informed. Not everyone in your workplace is trying to manipulate you, but some people are, and your ability to identify and respond to those dynamics will protect your mental health, your career trajectory, and your sense of self-worth. The power in this knowledge is that you're no longer operating in the dark. You've got strategies, you've got awareness, and you've got the ability to set boundaries that protect you. Whether you implement these strategies, seek professional support, or decide it's time to move on, you're taking control back from the manipulators. Thank you for watching this video. If this content resonated with you or helped you understand a situation you're dealing with, please share it with someone who might benefit. And if you want more insights into psychology, workplace dynamics, and personal development, subscribe to the channel for future content. Your mental health and professional well-being matter, and I'm committed to providing you with the tools to protect both.